Anyway, moving on.
Now, is it a currency or a commodity? This is something we still have to look into.
So, if you are unaware if it's a currency or a commodity, why are we having a discussion? Meaning, if there is still things that you are unsure about, why have such a strong opinion against Bitcoin? Why not just say, I don't know what Bitcoin is? There are many questions I don't have, so therefore I won't say anything until I know. But to say I don't know as an objection, it doesn't add up. But moving on.
Because it is not a currency, it's not backed by people, it's not backed by government, it's not backed by central banks or normal banks.
Now, this is one of the most worrying objections the Shaykh has mentioned so far. The most concerning objection. Bitcoin is not backed by people, not backed by governments or even central banks or even normal banks. This is troubling. This is extremely troubling. Let's have a look. It seems to be here that the Shaykh is suggesting that money can only be money if it is backed by a riba-based institution. Governments don't have money. Central banks don't have money. Banks don't have money. They have liability. They have debt. Central banks issue currency through debt, through riba. Their job is to regulate the money supply through interest rates. If they decrease the interest rates, that encourages people to borrow. The more they borrow, the more money is created in the system. The more money is created into the system, that effectively, as I say, introduces growth to the economy. And if they want to reduce the money supply, they increase interest rates, make it more expensive to borrow money from the bank. And in case you're unaware, when you borrow money from the bank, you're not taking someone else's money, you are issuing fresh new currency. So when you mine Bitcoin and you essentially get rewarded new Bitcoin, that is, how to say it? That is how Bitcoin comes into existence. You provide a service to the Bitcoin network, and therefore Bitcoin comes into existence. Whereas in the fiat system, money comes into existence through riba, through interest. So the Shaykh is basically saying that Bitcoin is not money because it doesn't come into existence through this process of riba. That's concerning. What I would have liked to have seen is the Shaykh say, we don't agree with the system of riba. We don't agree in the central banks or even banking system. We need a currency or a system that doesn't require interest to exist. But what we see here so far instead is Bitcoin is not real money because it's not backed by a central bank or a bank. That's extremely, extremely worrying. And I've only seen very few scholars who have raised the issue. Some have even gone as far as to say Bitcoin is haram, not because it's not currency, but because it threatens the central bank. Let that sink in for a minute. There is a scholar, he lives in Kuwait, who said that Bitcoin is haram because it actually stops interest or interest-based banking or threatens that institution. So what does it mean when the Messenger of Allah sallallahu said that the riba is many levels of sin, the lowest of it is like sleeping with your mother? What does that mean then? If we now are defending institutions that regulate and facilitate riba, how is that an objection to Bitcoin? That's the reason why we need Bitcoin. And that's the reason why I always tell people this is why you need Bitcoin. Not because money goes up and blah, blah, blah. The reason why you as a Muslim needs Bitcoin is to escape this system of riba. If that was the only case of Bitcoin, that's enough. But it's very sad that we see the Shaykh is actually objecting to Bitcoin because Bitcoin threatens the system. I can only guess that the Shaykh is unaware of how banks work or central banks work and what their role is in society. But the role of a central bank is to facilitate government spending through the issuance of currencies, through interest-based loans. That's the purpose behind it. Your taxes, when you're taxed, it goes to pay off these loans. When countries go to IMF to get loans, this is through this banking system. So all the system we have, everything we have in our current system is based on riba. So to defend that system is to defend riba. And it's sad that that's what we see here in this thing. But anyway, we move on.